Welcome, my dear guests, to the captivating expanses of my story. Chapter 6. With a heart whistling wildly in her chest, the noble Empress Savia Heimer entered the magnificent hall of the Reich University. It was a day of joy and solemnity, the day of graduation celebrations, which filled her with pride every year again. She walked along the long middle passage with thoughtful steps, flanked by her faithful bodyguards, who stood beside her like shady figures. Amazing eyes accompanied her as she approached the stage and took place on her imperial throne with a graceful gesture. When the last applause was heard, she rose majestically and walked gracefully to the standing speaker's desk. Her voice, as melodic as the singing of an intergalactic night whale, filled the space and enveloped the attentive students like a gentle breath from a distant galaxy. With a mixture of cosmic wisdom and burning passion, she talked about the interstellar challenges they now face and the infinite possibilities that appear like a shimmering starry ocean. Every word that left their lips was like a sparkling diamond from the depths of the universe, touching the hearts of the listeners and making their souls sound. She concluded her inspiring speech with warm praise for her tireless research spirit and her deep conviction that, as young academics, they would enrich the universe with their knowledge and brilliant intelligence. Suddenly and immediately, the mysterious Grand Inquisitor Kasach entered the noble stage. Her appearance was surrounded by an aura of omnipotence as she, with a calm and dominant voice, delivered an immersive speech on the fundamental principles of loyalty and dedication, discipline and obedience, virtues of immense importance in these turbulent and restless times. There was a breath of concern in the air as the eyes of those present wandered fearfully back and forth. Never before had the Inquisitor attended this magnificent feast, and her mere presence gave the event a mysterious and almost threatening atmosphere. The young students left the hall with depressed faces. The spark of hope, which Empress Savia, with all her power, had sought to kindle, had been dampened by the vigorous admonitions of Grand Inquisitor Kasach. But Savia, full of confidence, firmly believed that the aspiring youth would find the right path. The seed had been sown, ready to be cared for, to eventually blossom in full glory. A majestic spectacle unfolded before the assembled dignitaries at a subsequent meeting of the noble imperial chamber. The Honorable Minister of the Environment, Baron, surrounded by an aura of power, raised his voice to a sublime sound that stirred the hearts of those present. With a proud chest, he announced the completion of a monumental empire project that exploded the boundaries of the imaginable, the genetic upgrading of the general population. The minister's words pervaded the room like a thunderstorm, causing the air to shiver with tension. The rebellious nature, he spoke with a triumphant undertone, proclaiming that victory over the integrity of creation, was utterly silenced. Our honorable citizens are now obedient and diligently carry out their duties. A ruin of admiration and reverence filled the walls of the chamber, while those present perceived the meaning of these words. The vision of a society in which human nature was shaped by the hand of progress seemed close to reach. But behind the facade of glory hid a question that sprang up in the minds of those who had the courage to ask it: what was the price for this supposed perfection? The representatives of the Church of Genetic Purity bowed their heads in silent agreement, while the faint light of the sunset illuminated their impeccable faces. In this dystopian society, in which all forms of deviation were ruthlessly eradicated, perfection seemed to have been achieved. But deep within Savia, there was an unfortunate discomfort in the face of this oppressive self-righteousness, which crawled like a shadow over her soul. But she did not dare to express her concerns out loud, for the consequences of such heresy were unthinkable. Instead, she skillfully directed the conversation to the next topic: the strengthening of the fleet, that powerful armada that symbolized the Church's untouchable power. Still, there was a dark threat at the Empire's borders, in the form of the feared Almoran. Expanding military power was of the utmost importance, to protect the Empire from this dark shadow. At this crucial hour, the chamber gathered and granted the respected Grand Admiral Romero the needed resources to equip the fleet with revolutionary weapons systems. The research department received generous financial support to devote itself to research into quantum hacking and strengthening fleet capabilities. These bold steps should strengthen the Empire's defense capabilities and inaugurate a new era of technological progress. In the hidden laboratories and studios of the research department, a breathtaking race unfolded against unstoppable time. The most brilliant spirits of the Empire have been mobilized to uncover the secrets of quantum hacking and to create groundbreaking weapons systems. The fate of the Empire depended on a silk thread, on its triumph or failure. Meanwhile, the Empire's fleets were upgraded and equipped with the latest technological advances. The Chamber had realized that powerful fleet support was indispensable to face the Almorans. Majestic spacecraft of unprecedented size and technological sophistication have been created to meet the relentless demands of interstellar conflict. With every screw, panel, and circuit, these new wonders of engineering became true masterpieces of destructive power. Not only were the new creations shining in a fresh glow, but the already existing ships were also subjected to a comprehensive modernization. Their former weapons and defense systems were replaced by groundbreaking technologies that taught the Empire's enemies fear. The ships awakened to new life, ready to face the challenges of the galaxy with unwavering determination. But as the ships unfolded their power in the depths of space, secret operations were initiated in secret. An elite unit of spies and intelligence agents was sent to uncover the secrets of the Almoran. Their mission was of the utmost importance because the Empire could only gain a decisive advantage in the forthcoming conflict by knowing the enemy's weaknesses. Tensions in the Empire reached unprecedented heights while the research department was constantly working on discoveries, and the fleets faced each other on the battlefields of the galaxy. Every day brought new challenges and new ways to weaken and exploit the enemy. In the heart of the Divine Empress, Savia Heimer burned the flame of hope that Grand Admiral Romero and the elite scientists could use these precious resources to strengthen the Empire's defense power in a revolutionary way. But she felt the heavy burden of responsibility that came with this breakthrough technology. She exhorted with strong words to be cautious and prudent, for she knew the danger of this power. Deep in thought, Grand Inquisitor Kasach nodded contemplatively. The enormous power of science had to be managed with wisdom and prudence in order to maintain balance in the galaxy. While the intrigued researchers in the mysterious labs tirelessly pursued their groundbreaking experiments, the battle-colored First Space Fleet continued its bold patrols in the ruthlessly fought border area. With unwavering determination, with desperate devotion, they stumbled through the vastness of the universe, in search of the hidden weaknesses of the enemy, which could prove to be the key to a decisive counterattack. As an intelligence force detected the uncharted Prudence system, which the Almorans used to exploit valuable resources, a message was immediately transmitted to the tactical officer at Admiral Romero's flagship bridge. When Admiral Romero heard the report, she felt a sense of satisfaction. "Excellent," she said. "Put the course into the system. We will strike as soon as the fleet is fully assembled." The following days passed in a wave of preparations, which filled the atmosphere with an electrifying tension. Admiral Romero, a fearless and determined leader, declared the highest level of readiness with a voice permeated by iron determination. Like a dance of the stars, the majestic ships formed into a deadly attack formation and plunged at an unprecedented speed into the system, surrounded by an aura of distress. A fierce battle broke out at the strategically essential mines and refineries, shining like sparkling jewels in infinite space. The air was filled with furious fireworks of laser beams and exploding energy shields. But the space fleet of Kasach, with its superior firepower and unwavering determination, proved to be an unbeatable enemy. They ruthlessly broke through the enemy lines like a wild predator chasing its prey. The battle began with an intensity that seemed to shake the galaxy itself. The stars watched the spectacle while the planets held their breath. In the end, however, the Kasach space fleet's unwavering steadfastness brought the victory. With a triumphant shout, the universe shone in a dazzling light as the last remnants of the enemy forces disappeared into the depths of the cosmos. The story of this epic battle would be eternalized in the annals of the galaxy as a milestone in the heroic resistance of humans against the Almorans. Admiral Romero proclaimed the glorious victory with a heart full of joy, which fell like a devastating blow on the enemy's war machinery. The Divine Empress Savia Heimer and the noble Imperial Senate received this joyful message with profound relief. At last, the first step had been taken. But there was still a decisive battle ahead of them, a battle of epic proportions that would decide the fate of all living beings in the galaxy's vastness. With a feverish dedication, outstanding Chief Scientist Rita Griffin and her high-ranking team dedicated themselves to securing this crucial technological advance for the majestic space fleet. After completing the refined quantum hacking, they focused on the next monumental project, the groundbreaking mass closure. With a voice trembling with excitement, Rita declared in the chamber, "This revolutionary innovation will undoubtedly put our hyperspace navigation on top of it. Our fleet will be able to maneuver with a speed and precision that was previously unimaginable." Even the noble Grand Inquisitor Kasach, captured by her unstoppable curiosity and yet accompanied by an inner voice of caution, could not escape the fascinating events. Empress Savia granted her chief scientist permission for this ambitious project, whose spirit was always clear and vigilant for her. In an era of unceasing warfare, it was crucial to move at rapid speed in order to surprise the enemy unexpectedly. But deep in her heart, she held the silent hope that this revolutionary discovery could one day be used for peaceful purposes. The chief scientist, Rita Griffin, an unstoppable force of nature, moved forward unmistakably, without being held back by the bonds of the limitations or the obstacles of others. Day and night, she pursued her goal of advancing the good of the kingdom with an iron determination. At her side was always her loyal assistant Hinata Takahashi, who stood by her side unconditionally. Rita gave herself no rest, always looking for the next breakthrough that would pave her way to success. Through groundbreaking advances in the development of new technologies, the first space fleet was able, in the following months, with bold determination, to penetrate the enemy territory's inexplicable depths. Under the fearless leadership of Admiral Romero, a sophisticated strategy of targeted needle bites was pursued, targeting breathtaking speed outposts and post-shuttle routes in order to permanently and irreversibly weaken the enemy. And so it happened that the fearless Admiral Romero conquered the distant Zoldior system. The system extended over a vast area covered by the ruins of long-forgotten ancient spacecraft. A sight that took the breath of even the most experienced space travelers and surpassed their imagination. The scattered ruins were silent witnesses to past battles and lost thought technology now waiting to be discovered by the right hands. Admiral Romero, a fearless tactician of unparalleled brilliance, instantly realized the unexpected potential lurking in the mysterious remains of the Flying Dutchman and the hidden treasures that they carry. With a determined order, she released the Equinox into the infinite vastness of the universe in order to dig the remnants of past civilizations for precious technology. The researchers on board were filled with a burning anticipation and an unstoppable expectation, because they knew they would discover a treasury of knowledge, whose value was beyond their boldest dreams. And indeed, their expectations were not only fulfilled but exceeded. The researchers encouraged hidden systems whose existence left even the most experienced engineers a mystery. But lead scientist Rita Griffin could not be intimidated by the incomprehensible complexity of this technology. On the contrary, in the depths of her soul, she perceived an unparalleled opportunity to strengthen the fabric of the entire Empire's technology and thus consolidate the foundations of her power. Without a sigh of doubt, the fearless Admiral Romero commissioned the brilliant chief scientist Rita Griffin to bring the shipyards back to a new level of perfection. In doing so, they even dared to use unknown code fragments from the legendary Flying Dutch. It was a bold step that kept fate in the way because no one could imagine the unpredictable consequences. But for Paulina Romero, such concerns were meaningless because the fear of risks was completely alien to her. She relied on her unfailing sense of the wonders of technology and her unwavering ability to cope with even the greatest challenges. This invaluable advantage would in no way go unused. Thus, integrating the mysterious systems eventually revealed itself as a triumphal success, reinforcing Admiral Romero in her decision and further consolidating her position as a brilliant tactic. In the midst of the powerful turmoil of events, Rita and her fearless team plunge into the depths of hyperspace channel stabilization to catapult the hyperdrives to an unprecedented level. With every revolutionary discovery, they proceeded unstoppably, as if they were the bold pioneers of a new era. But as the flames of innovation flooded unstoppably, the divine Empress Savia Heimer observed the rapid upgrading of the fleet with ambiguous sensations. Deep inside, she knew that this arms race was inevitable in order to meet the challenges of the time. But at the same time, it was a heavy burden on her conscience because she recognized the potential consequences of this development. But there was no way back that was now open to them. There was an inevitable determination before them, to end that conflict once and for all. In the inexplicable depths of an isolated lunar station, far from any civilization, hid the mysterious spiritual enclave of the telepathic masters of the powerful Kazakh Empire. They were the watchful guardians of the invisible connection to the collective consciousness of the entire population, a task of unimaginable magnitude. Regularly, they embarked on an engaging journey of the mind, leading them beyond the veil of reality through deep meditation, catapulting their senses into another sphere of existence. At that moment, surrounded by an aura of strict secrecy, they once again dared the bold transition. Wrapped in a coat of mysterious darkness, they embarked on a journey that was to lead them deep into the abysses of the human soul. In a state of deep trance, they plunged into the devastating streams of soul energy that traveled through the universe. Their thoughts, once independent and individual, are now merging with the collective thoughts of the people of the Empire. A symbiotic bond emerged that strengthened the cohesion of the community and raised it to an unstoppable power. As their eyes slowly lifted from deep meditation, an unprecedented power flowed through their body. A power that gave them the ability to provide the brave warriors on the battlefield with new courage, and an unwavering determination. The spirit of unity and cohesion manifested itself in an unprecedented strength. With a relentless willingness to challenge all dangers, the telepaths returned. At the heart of this intriguing event, the sublime Department of Imperial Research completed its breakthrough effort to create a tactical innovation of unimaginable scale, reactive fleet formation. This revolutionary approach opened up an unprecedented perspective by creating the possibility of uniting a multitude of ships into a fleet and controlling them in perfect symbiosis. With a radiant smile on her lips, Grand Admiral Romero entered the magnificent chamber of the Imperial Senate, where she would present her ambitious plans. The atmosphere was electrically charged as it attracted the attention of all those present. With a voice only so permeated by determination and conviction, she announced her breakthrough vision. My dear members of the Senate, with these visionary projects of the reactive fleet formation, we will change the fleet's leadership forever. By unveiling this flexible doctrine, we will not only be able to control and direct a more significant number of ships but also to form an unimaginable armada that is powerful and fearful. Soon our fierce enemies will have to kneel before us as we triumph over them. The words permeated the space like an echo from a distant galaxy, filling the hearts of the listeners with an intoxicating mixture of fear and euphoria. At this magical moment, the true greatness of Grand Admiral Romero was revealed, for she held not only the present but also the future of interstellar warfare firmly in her mighty hands. The majestic Empress Savia Heimer and her enlightened senators of the Imperial Council bowed their heads in silent agreement, but there was a breath of unrest in the atmosphere. The idea of holding such a monumental fleet in their hands touched Empress Savia in a profound way. She prayed earnestly to the gods that this immeasurable power would never distort her senses. But fate had long since played its cards. Now it was up to them to end this fatal conflict. The decisive battle approached unstoppably, like a dark shadow lying over the world. May it pave the way to the desired peace, it was the heartfelt wish of Empress Savia. However, fate had long since played out its cards. The threads of fate were woven, and the protagonists were now destined to end this fatal conflict. The decisive battle approached unstoppably, like a dark shadow spreading over the world. May it pave the way to the desired peace, it was the heartfelt wish of Empress Savia. Hey, I would be happy if you could give my video a like, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date.